that okay, yeah. Digimon had Pokemon had better games until recently. Honestly, if I have to be honest here, Digimon, I think are better than Pokemon in terms of the games at this point. I mean, Sword and Shield, like I played it for an hour and I just put the damn game down with the constant tutorials, like basically treating you like you're a moron, and the lack of options to play the game how you want it to. Like for God's sake, we're like this is 2020 and we still have fucking you know Pokemon games that fucking look like 3DS games. Sword and Shield just looks like Sun and Moon in high resolution. That's all it fucking is. And not to mention, it's just 60 goddamn dollars for the same goddamn game, and there isn't anything interesting, about Sword and Shield. And it's like there's so much better games in the you can find that can get your fix if you're into, monster games. It's just not only that, most of the Pokemon that are interesting were cut from the game. And yeah, they did bring some of them back as DLC, of course. Yeah, of course they did. It's like the bare bones content in Sword and Shield. It's just I just don't think it's that good of a game. And I just think Digimon with the most recent titles like Digimon Cyber Sleuth and its sequel, along with Digimon World, I forgot what they called. It's a Digimon game where you have two Digimon partners. That's like Digimon World 1. It's like the gameplay for the Digimon games are just better than Pokemon at this point, and it actually feels like an RPG. While Pokemon at this point, it's just let's just focus mostly on the competitive aspect. Don't get me wrong, I have no problem with competitive play, but that's not Pokemon to me. Like Pokemon, what made it interesting was the single player, and the fact that the single players basically bare bones now just makes me lose interest in the game entirely. Ever since Pokemon went into 3D, honestly, Pokemon just lost what made it special, and now they're remaking Diamond and Pearl, which I don't have nostalgia for, and the art style that they're using for it, it's like it's not even in a freaking style that I think is appealing. It's like, yeah, let's do it in a chibi style. It's like, okay, why are you doing it that way? I agree. Pokemon, I think, lost its charm after the 5th generation. It's just Pokemon, lost what made it unique in the first place. Ever since they went to 3D, Pokemon just has not been the same in terms of its, gameplay, its atmosphere. It's just the Kalos region was pretty bland, if I must say so myself. Yeah, I put a lot of hours into X, but in all honesty, it's just you started seeing less content from the main game. And well, not main game, the main story is better way. And it's just Pokemon is just more about, oh yeah, let's breed and do this and that. It's like that's all it is now. Pokemon, all it is just competitive battles. That's all it is. It's like there's no option for anything else. It's like gone are the days when we had a robust single player campaign and a robust post game. It's like there's a lot of freaking shit in Pokemon, in the older games that I enjoy. And I think the multiplayer should not be the main focus, in my opinion. It should be the cherry on top. I think the single player should be the main aspect of the game, in all honesty. And I think that is why the older games are like better, in my opinion, because you could play those games as an RPG, and but now they're slowly losing their RPG emulations and more. It's more just a battle game that you can just play, competitively. And even the competitive aspect of Pokemon has been changed, where playing the games online now, what I've been hearing from people who played Sword and Shield, you can't even freaking do matches that are longer than 20 minutes. And anybody that's played Pokemon online knows that Pokemon matches can last a fucking long ass time because of all the strategy that you have to, come up with. You can't just freaking speed through it. You know, no, that's not fucking, interesting. That the gameplay, it's just no. And not to mention Sword and Shield, it's just like, you got to be kidding me. You have the Switch, which is like 10 times more powerful, if not more. It's way more than 10 times, but it's at least over 20 to 30 times more powerful than the 3DS. And you could not, do a game that, looks like a game from, the current generation of Nintendo consoles. And it's the first Nintendo, console to have a Pokemon game, a mainline Pokemon game, not a spin-off, a mainline Pokemon game. And the game looks like fucking a 3DS game, in HD. That's all it is. The gameplay is the same, even though you could do a lot more, with modern hardware. The graphics don't even look that much different. The difficulty is like piss poor. You don't you don't even have the option to adjusting, the difficulty. You have no option to adjusting like the if you want the XP share on or off. And not to mention, let's just compare Pokemon to Nintendo's other IPs, regardless of how we feel about Nintendo. It just seems like Pokemon is just the Madden of RPGs, honestly. Like, you just compare like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, to its predecessor on console, Skyward Sword. Breath of the Wild is a massive open world game that makes freaking Skyrim look like a shit game by comparison. The how open Breath of the Wild is, the amount of stuff that you can do in Breath of the Wild, like there's stuff that people are discovering, to this day that people didn't know when the game first came out. There's still a lot to discover in Breath of the Wild. And Breath of the Wild is one of those games that, it could be as long or as short as you want it to be. Breath of the Wild is the ultimate Zelda game in the way that it's player choice ultimately at the end of the day on how you want to progress through the game. You don't have to do all the extra stuff. You don't have to get all Link's memories. You don't have to get the Master Sword to defeat Ganondorf. You don't have to even do any of the dungeons to defeat Calamity Ganon at the end. You have the option to hell, you could go straight to Calamity Ganon at the start of the fucking game. That's what Pokemon doesn't give you, player choice. Fire Emblem Three Houses, takes all the things that were wrong with Fates and actually does something with it. Choosing your own path, multiple endings. Not to mention, Three Houses looks like a modern Fire Emblem game. The graphics look crisp and beautiful. It isn't an ugly, bland looking game like Sword and Shield are. It just seems like, Game Freak just doesn't care anymore. And then you go to like the remakes of Diamond and Pearl. Now, I didn't play Diamond and Pearl when they came out, so I don't have nostalgia for those two games. I didn't get back into Pokemon until the remakes of Gold and Silver. But you're telling me they could not have used a similar graphic style as the remakes of Emerald and Sapphire? Like, we have to have this stupid chibi style. It's like, no. What? You're telling me we could not have had a remake of Diamond and Pearl with the modern Pokemon engine in order to, give us an actual remake that actually is different from the original, not just a remake of the DS version, but it's in 3D. It's like this to me reeks of cash grab to me. This looks like the biggest cash grab in the Pokemon series in terms of remakes since Fire Red and Leaf Green. Because you're not going to be able to use all the Pokemon, I doubt it, that are currently available right now. It's probably going to be strict mostly to Gen 4. And maybe they'll keep some Pokemon from the other generations in the game. But other than that, I just see this one being very restrictive. Yeah, I hope so. Legend of Arceus looks something different, honestly, but I'm keeping my expectations low because it's Pokemon, and you can't expect anything for Pokemon, honestly, because Pokemon is just nothing more than a cash cow at this point. It's nothing more than a cash grab. It's like anything that made Pokemon great is, has been stripped away slowly. They've dumbed down the games. They removed post-game content almost entirely. And even had some of the freaking people who were in charge of the games, even during the remake of Heart Gold and Soul Silver, even questioning why were they putting this much effort into a remake. It's like, yeah, that's the fucking logic those people have when it comes to Pokemon games. In all honesty, I like to check out, the fan-made Pokemon game that Nintendo took down or tried to take down in their pathetic attempt to, suppress it, because I've heard good things about it. It's something different. It's something new, and they did something different with the Pokemon formula. And you know what? There's probably fan games that are probably better than Nintendo's main titles, because at this point, everything that I liked about Pokemon, almost all of it is gone. The collecting aspect of Pokemon I enjoy doing. It's gone. The single player campaign is gone, and it's replaced with a campaign that's extremely short that you'll go through for very quickly, and not to mention when you complete the game, you're just going to put it down unless you actually care about about playing online, which I don't. So yeah, that's Pokemon in a nutshell. It's just Pokemon in general. It's just basically, what happens when capitalism gets a hold of a video game series and doesn't allow the series to actually evolve. Yeah, it's true. Pokemon's formula hasn't changed since 1995. It's ridiculous. I'm not saying that Pokemon needs to have play so differently that you don't recognize, how the game plays, but it's very true. They haven't changed the formula that much. The gameplay especially hasn't even changed that much. Like if you compare Legend of Zelda, its gameplay has changed multiple times, in the past, 30 years. From a top-down Zelda to a 3D Zelda game, hell, to, Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild. I mean, there's been multiple different ways to play Zelda games, throughout the years. And isn't it even the same, as like, you cannot tell me that Breath of the Wild is the same as Skyward Sword, or if Skyward Sword is the same as Ocarina of Time. They're different enough where they're unique. Same thing with it. Yeah, Majora's Mask may be a similar game to Ocarina of Time, but the game, plays differently enough, and it has different enough, aspect to it where it's not the same way. Like Majora's Mask, you have to, actually do a lot more side stuff if you want to get the full ending of the game. Majora's Mask actually feels like a more immersive world than Ocarina of Time. It's like the experience between Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time is like night and day. It's like Majora's Mask is my favorite Zelda game because I feel like it feels like a real breathing world that you actually walk into. Like the NPCs, you are the most interesting of any of the games in the franchise. The atmosphere is dark. I mean, Majora's Mask is such a dark and depressing story when you look at it deeply. And in all honesty, that's what makes the game great for me, because within that darkness is also characters that have hope for a tomorrow. And I love Majora's Mask, actually, because, Link at that point is at the lowest, probably one of the lowest point of his life. And I played Majora's Mask throughout various different points in my life. And I got a different thing out of it every time. Majora's Mask is definitely my favorite Zelda game, because I think not only do I think it has the best story, it has the best atmosphere and the best music for me. And that's why I will always rank Majora's Mask as my favorite Zelda game, honestly. Oh god, we do not the CDI games are so bad that they're good. I've never played them. Oh, I know. Only thing I know is AVGN's review of it. Yeah, even though the fan games may not have the stamp of approval that the mainstream Pokemon games have, the fans are willing to experiment with stories, gameplay. Hell, you have a fucking fan hack of a Pokemon game that basically is a fan fiction that actually has Pokemon, characters from various different points of the Pokemon, canon. Whether it's the manga, the anime, you have all these characters crossing over. I forgot what the name of this game was, but it also had Pokemon from various generations. It's like you do have freaking Pokemon games being made that are good, but most of those games are not made by none of those games are made by Nintendo. They're made by the fans. Because there's things that the fans have wanted for years in a Pokemon game, and Nintendo won't do it. There's fans that want an MMO for Pokemon. Nintendo won't do it. There's fans that want a darker story for Pokemon. Nintendo won't do it. Or Game Freak is more accurate to say. There's people, that freaking want to do away with the fucking types of Pokemon that we've been having for generations. Like, why does every, Pokemon generation have to be fire, water, and grass? Why can't we do something different? Why does it have to be the same starter types? And the starters have gradually gotten worse as the generations went on. I know this is I may be biased because Gen 1 was my first Pokemon generation. But if you look at the designs for, the first few generations, my favorite is my favorite, starters are probably from the first two generations. If you just look at how distinct they look, their designs, and their evolutions, it's like they have something you could identify immediately. It is gradually over time, the starters just slowly got worse. And they didn't do anything new with really they just took a other animal and just made him a fire type. It's like, why not have a psychic type or a steel type? It's like something different besides the same goddamn formula. And don't get me started how many generations we had of fire fighting. Yeah, they do, from what I've heard. Animal Crossing is more of those kind of games where you play to relax. It's you don't play it to get a challenge. Pokemon trainer, you know, take in the team of that game is BreadTube. Oh god. Oh god. I can understand that. Yeah, because not everyone started with Gen 1 or Gen 2. Of course, those two generations will always have a special place in my heart because they were the first Pokemon games. And one thing I forgot, the what was the sorry. I think the elephant in the room of things that about Pokemon that really just piss me off is how every new feature Nintendo adds that's actually good, that actually makes the games easier to play, makes it better to play, and actually improves the multiplayer experience or single player or both. They remove them. Like, remember how great X and Y's online was and how easy it was to find people, how easy it was to actually, if let's say you had a friend who played the game with you and you wanted to battle with them or trade, it was so easy. But they removed such convenient features and added some stupid feature and Sun and Moon that's like, wow, you removed probably the one of the best things of Gen 6 and just gave it even worse iteration. Like, you could instantly find opponents easily and X and Y. They changed that. They ruined, such a good feature. And not to mention, another thing about Pokemon that, really grinds my fucking gears in general is, why the fuck are we still having two versions of Pokemon games in 2021? They're the same goddamn game. They're the same goddamn game. Oh, but Darth Sinovia, they have, different Pokemon that you cannot get in that version, and they have different legendaries, and and the plot in some of the games are different depending on which version. That's the fucking point. God damn it. They could include these as one goddamn game and fucking and it would probably work better. But no, they're just doing it to fucking make extra money. It's like only 2% of the game is fucking different if you fucking buy the opposite version. Like fucking like the remakes of Diamond and Pearl. Why are they not just one game? It's but if you don't get that version, you're not able to get that Pokemon. It's like it's such bullshit. It's such fucking bullshit. It's ridiculous. Like, Jim Sterling was right, honestly, when they said, like, Pokemon has been this way from the very beginning. It's like from the start of Red and Blue, you had freaking two versions of the same game when you probably could have put every Pokemon in one game. They could have done it with every fucking Pokemon game, but instead, they just did it just to sell fucking extra copies. And okay, do you in the States there was three different versions of of fire of red, blue, and yellow. In Japan, you had four. Yeah, I don't know if you guys do that. Japan had four different versions of the first Pokemon games. You had red, which their red and was not the same as our red, and green, which the only difference is between those versions is the Pokemon. Japan released their blue version, which the our versions of Pokemon Red and Blue are actually based on Japan's blue version, which actually fixed majority of the problems that the original red and green suffered from. It's like you have four fucking different versions. And hell, if you just got yellow as your Pokemon game, let's just say you got that back in the day, you couldn't complete the Pokedex. You couldn't get all the fucking Pokemon because there's certain Pokemon you cannot get in yellow. So It's all a fucking bunch of fucking bullshit. And why couldn't this been one game? It's like we're on fucking console now. There's no longer any excuse why these things cannot be one game. Not to mention in, you know, Sun and Moon, making certain clothing exclusive to whatever version you bought. It's like, wait, what? You cannot get all of this in whatever version you get, so you have to own both. That's bullshit. It's like Pokemon is, one of the biggest cash grabs in gaming history, and people still haven't seen it. That Pokemon, why aren't fans demanding Nintendo to release one fucking version of fucking Pokemon games? It's so ridiculous how we're still doing fucking two versions to this fucking day, despite the fact that you have more than enough fucking memory on the cartridge to fucking include it all in one. Where the fuck is my water? Sorry. I've been talking. Oh, fuck. I'll have to edit that. I've been editing this. Sorry, editing. I've been fucking ranting for like almost like God knows how long, and I just need something to drink. Okay. The fact that there's still like fucking two versions of the same game, and well, in a lot of cases, in the first few generations, 3 different versions is ridiculous. I honestly, when it comes to Pokemon, I unfortunately do not have my original Red or my original Silver. But the Pokemon games that I own, honestly, I own most of the DS games. Not every version of them, but I own most of them. The ones that I care about. I have Platinum. I have Soul Silver. I have, White and White 2. So yeah, and of course I own bootlegs. Unfortunately, they're not original fucking games, because getting a legitimate copy of Gen 3 Pokemon games is impossible. But I have bootleg copies of, all the Gen 3 games. I have X, I have Alpha Snapfire, I have Sun, and I have Ultra Sun. And I have Sword. So yeah, I fucking did more. I've contributed more than enough to Pokemon in order to fucking say, that, yeah, this series has become a cash grab. Okay, and most of the titles I've listed, I didn't buy brand new. I bought them used. And not to mention, let's just say you want to play an old Pokemon game. Let's just say you just don't care about the new ones. You just want to play the old ones. You can't even fucking get the freaking old games for a fucking good price because of how goddamn expensive it is. Like the DS games, which I did say DS because 3DS emulation still has a ways to go. Emulating, the DS Pokemon games, I'd rather play them on the actual hardware or 3DS. It's fucking ridiculous. You can't even get the games for a decent price because scalpelers fucking charge up the ass. Like, Pokemon games aren't fucking rare, and they're fucking like ridiculous in terms of price. Why are you charging fucking, $80 to $100 for a Pokemon game that's fucking not even hard to find? Like, they weren't that hard to find a few years ago, but now because, the fucking scalpelers freaking and the Let's Play streamers have to fucking, which they make a stupid requirement, you must have the legitimate copy of the game. Fucking Pokemon are so goddamn expensive. So even if you want a legitimate copy, you can't. And if you want to get a copy of the freaking GBA versions of certain Pokemon games, that's fucking expensive. And by that point, it's like, you know what? Get those fucking emulate this fucking shit for free, considering, GVA is fucking easy to emulate. So there's no point of trying to fucking track these games down. I mean, if you could get a physical copy, if you get a bootleg of, Gen 3, who fucking cares? I mean, seriously, who fucking cares? Yeah, I fucking hate it too. I hated it even as a kid. And it's the reason why, me and my brother, who both liked Pokemon, I wasn't able to complete my copy of Red because how often my brother wanted to play Red. He wanted to play Pokemon too. So, my grandmother, who did understand, is like, why the hell are you asking to get the same game? It's like, my grandmother knew it was a cash grab, and she knew fucking. But when she found out, we couldn't share a game for Pokemon, that she reluctantly she bought my brother his own copy. It's like, it's all fucking bullshit. It just gets an excuse for parents to buy the same goddamn game multiple times. It's a brilliant. I will give Nintendo credit for one thing. It is a brilliant strategy to get parents who have multiple kids who want Pokemon to have their own copy. It's brilliant, and I will give them credit for that. Let's go Eevee. But then, Let's Go Eevee. I'm surprised. That game. That game is all but forgotten. Honestly, I mean, the Pokemon games I'm referring to, by the way, the 3DS titles, they're not hard to find right now. You could get them all digital, but it won't be, for much longer that Nintendo won't just shut down the eShop. Once that gets shut down, those games will become even harder to find than they are now. The physical copies are going to become even rarer, and as a result, you're not going to be able to fucking find them. That's another reason why, Pokemon games, you're kind of pressured to pre-order them or buy them as close to the release date as possible, because if you don't, they'll become so goddamn hard to find that you'll fucking be paying like a fucking arm and a goddamn leg just to, get those fucking games. Honestly. Of course, if you have a 3DS or anything like that has the ability to get those games for free, because you could download the game or get the iOS or whatever you do for 3DS, I'd fucking do it. There's no shame of doing that. I don't think you own the company is a fucking thing. You are not wrong to do that. Honestly, and let's be honest, I'm not going to shame anyone. First, honestly, I'm going to just get out of the Pokemon talk, because I think this is a good topic to segue into. This. There is no shame pirating video games. There is no shame in doing it, unless it's an indie developer that and that is, who don't charge ridiculous money for their games. There is no shame. In fact, even then, I don't shame anyone for, pirating their games. Why, do I, not shame people? And why I don't think you should either? Because it's a fucking bourgeois fucking mindset to have. I prefer to, have my games physical because I prefer physical copies of games. However, I'm not gonna, condemn someone for, pirating games or pirating a certain game series, because I don't fucking. Let's be real. Most of these developers, they don't give a shit about how, they don't care about the people that they work for them. Most of these developers, they treat their workers like shit. They, do a bunch of fucked up shit behind the scenes. They, especially Activision, who fucking escapes fucking paying taxes. Like, we're fucking paying for taxes of a bunch of fucking leeches. It's like, I have no sympathy for these companies. And not to mention, a lot of these fucking companies fucking make subpar games anyway. So who gives a shit if somebody pirates a game? Honestly, who fucking cares? Like go to the high seas. Who gives a shit? Who really cares? And not to mention, some of these companies like do such fucked up practices and freaking do a bunch of shit that actually makes the things worse anyway. It's like, who cares? It's not freaking, wrong to fucking want to pirate something. Honestly, I mean, pirating a fucking video game is not fucking stealing, in my opinion. Considering you don't need a video game to survive. And not to mention, freaking most of these companies fucking make billions of dollars anyways. Like, who gives a shit if you fucking, pirate a game from Nintendo or fucking Sony or Microsoft or Activision or EA? Who gives a shit? If you do it, I'm not going to condemn you. In fact, I encourage people to do it. Why is that? Because a lot of these companies, especially the ones in the States, I cannot speak for the ones in, Europe or in Japan, but they fucking dodge taxes. They pay their workers fucking shit wages. Their workers could barely make ends meet despite working for possibly the biggest industry, in the world, arguably. And you still have people that can't fucking, make ends meet. It's like, who fucking cares if you fucking steal from those people? And in all honesty, the hours they work for these people, some of these games that fucking people don't seem to understand that they may enjoy were made by people that did crunch time, people that freaking, it worked to the point of exhaustion to get these games out. And we only know about certain ones, like, The Last of Us Part 2 and a few other games, that have had similar, instances of crunch time. Yeah, I agree. Similar instances of crunch time. I mean, seriously, why in the living mother of fuck are we do we care what gamers do? Who people who don't want to fucking pay for these games because you know what? I don't have the money. And not to mention, games are getting so goddamn expensive now. It's like, why should I pay 70 goddamn dollars for a fucking, freaking game that is a buggy fucking mess? Honestly, video games shouldn't even fucking be costing like as much as they do. It's bullshit. Like with digital distribution, especially, why are we paying the same price for a game digitally as physical? You don't have to ship a fucking digital copy. You don't have to freaking make a digital copy. You just put the goddamn code on the fucking, you know, you know, on the fucking network. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a certain amount of codes you basically give to freaking people, but still, it doesn't cost that much compared to shipping disc, making a disc to freaking make a game. So there's no reason why digital copies of games should fucking be more just as much, if not more, than in many cases in physical copies. Because depending on which company you buy it from, like a digital copy will remain more expensive than the physical copy because the price they charge for their games remains the same almost throughout the entire generation. Yeah, I knew about that. And I know, people are like, "Oh, I don't want to hear about this. I just want to enjoy my video games. I don't want to be shamed and feeling guilty about the stuff that I enjoy." Well, you know what? Tough fucking shit. Because by saying that, I don't want to hear about this sort of things. I don't want to hear about politics, in my video games. You are enabling game developers to abuse their fucking workers. And if the abuse of workers doesn't mean a goddamn thing to you, then I'm sorry. I don't fucking care if you get offended if gaming journalists talk about politics of video games, because fucking working people, who actually work for a living to make these goddamn games, to make these games what they are possible, they're treated like shit. It's one of the worst industries to work for. And honestly, any passion for video games, a lot of it will die if when you actually become part of the industry, because of how they treat their fucking workers. And anybody that denies all this stuff with the accusations mounting, some of the companies have fucking sexual abusers in charge. It's like, no, just fucking no. It's like there comes to a point where you either take a stand and say, no, this is fucking bullshit, we shouldn't be treating workers this way, or you just value your hobby more than you value the lives of working people. In all honesty, I care about working people, and people should not be fucking pressured to be working 14 to 16 hours a day just so some middle class fucking privileged fucking guy on the internet could fucking, stream a fucking video game or bitch about a video game because it doesn't meet their expectations. No, fuck you. I care about the lives of freaking a working class people who, who could barely meet ends meet in one of the biggest industries. Fucking video games take a lot of fucking skill to freaking make. Like, this isn't something you could freaking do easily. You have to have, a degree in what, like, I don't even know what programming skills that you need, but you have to have something. Yet, in order to actually do what these game developers do, it's one of the hardest things to do. It's a skill that you do need to go to college for, depending on what part of the gaming department you work for. And the fact that a skill that difficult is something you could barely survive on, that's bullshit. That's exploitation. You're exploiting skilled workers and making them work for almost fucking nothing. Yeah, I agree. Jim Sterling's always been right. And that's why right wingers hate him. Right wingers hate Jim Sterling. Because every time that they have exposed the gaming industry, fucking these right wingers fucking don't like it, because a leftist or a left leaning gaming journalist exposing the gaming industry and actually exposing fucking how bad things really are. Oh no, we fucking can't do that. We can't actually have somebody actually talk about the abuse of workers. We have to complain about SJWs saying a bunch of stupid shit on the internet, saying a bunch of stupid shit, complaining about Nina Arkezian for like the millionth time. But we cannot talk about the abuse of workers unless it's convenient to shit on a game like The Last of Us Part 2. Yeah. If we had an open source, engine where everybody can fucking use it, we wouldn't need these goddamn game developers. You could have fucking talented fucking people work on video games and leave these motherfuckers, in the dust. It's like anybody that has an interest in video games, like, there's like literally no point. Considering the industry itself is fucking exploitative, and it not only exploits people through their labor and then in their time, it also exploits fucking people that have who have issues mentally when it comes to gambling or when it comes to compulsive disorders. It exploits fucking people, that have illnesses. It's like, it's a disgusting industry. And Jim Sterling is one of the few fucking people that actually expose this industry for the monster that it is. It's a fucking monster. And the gaming community is just as bad. Yeah, okay, it's they. Okay. Okay, well, Jim Sterling, in all honesty, just is one of the few people that actually cares. You know, they don't sugarcoat fucking what freaking how bad this is, and the gaming community as well. The gaming community just doesn't fucking care. They don't give a fuck that, the most exploitative industry is treating their workers like they're fucking animals. And no, I'm not going to die on this. Sorry. No, I'm not going to freaking, change my mind on this. I'm going to die on this fucking hill. The gaming industry is exploitative, and gamers as a whole fucking enable it. It's like, I don't give a fuck if you're fucking pissed off that, SJWs fucking supposedly ruined, your fucking video games. I don't fucking give a shit if they did that. I fucking don't. I care more about fucking things that actually matter. Working people who work in this industry, who spent years learning all the skills that it would take to be a programmer, to do all the stuff that's required to make a video game and their fucking skills are exploited. I don't fucking care. No, it takes a long time to learn those skills. And the very fact that they're paid as low as they are, and these fucking leeches in the gaming industry can fucking rank billions of dollars for doing fucking jack all, not doing anything. No. And you have fucking bootlicking fucking fascists that fucking no, Activision is not a bad company to work for. Yeah, say that to the fucking workers that fucking are below them. It's like, honestly, the issue with the gaming community as a whole, there is no working class culture in the gaming community. We have a fucking middle class entitlement culture in the gaming community. That's the reason why, things are as bad as they are. That's why fucking gaming is as toxic as it is, because there is no working class gamers out there. There is none that are even loud and proud or actually talk about these issues. It's always fucking middle class entitled man children. That's all this is. Oh, Darcenovia, middle class, people are working class. I'm sorry, but if you can afford, to miss a few days of work a year, you're not working class. If you have a job that pays well, no, you're not fucking working class. Working class is people that have to work 2 or 3 jobs and they could still barely fucking make ends meet. In all honesty, but working class people, poor people shouldn't be playing video games. If you have to live within your means. Fuck you. No. Working class people should be able to enjoy fucking gaming just like fucking everybody fucking else. Honestly. Fuck that. Honestly, fuck that. Seriously. Fuck that. And I'm being serious. Fuck that. We need a working class culture within the gaming community. We fucking need it. If we want to actually have a healthy fucking community, we need working class culture, not entitled middle class fucking culture. Because that's what the gaming community essentially is in a nutshell. Oh yeah, I fucking agree with that. Thanks to them, we can no longer play as the Red Army. Fuck yeah. Fuck you. Fuck you. If I can't even play as the Red Army, fuck you. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's definitely true. It's like these fucking people, oh my god, Darcenovia, you're anti-working class. No, I'm pro-working class. That is why I advocate that gamers have a fucking working class culture. And you think these fucking hobbies are strictly belong to the fucking middle class? Fuck that. There's more middle class fucking people in this hobby than people, would like to actually admit. There's a lot more. Just like there's working class people in fucking in comic book circles and manga and whatever. There's working class fucking people in there. Working class people need to be the dominant fucking culture in this community. Not a bunch of middle class fuckheads that fucking bitch all day about how evil SJWs are or how fucking evil fucking left wing freaking gaming journalists like Jim Sterling is. No, we need an actual working class fucking culture where you have people that are fucking working class that are actually basically advocating for some of the same things I'm advocating for. We need to fucking actually hold these companies accountable. Stop fucking, supporting these goddamn companies when they fucking do shit. Stop supporting abusive companies that abuse their fucking workers. We need to show some fucking solidarity to fucking workers. Not, oh my god, I want to play this video game, but I don't know, I'm torn. No, we need to show solidarity to fucking workers. Enough of this, oh, I care about nobody but myself. To hell with that. Seriously. To hell with that. Yeah, they could do it. They could easily do that. And that's the thing. The fucking working class need to fucking take the fucking narrative and actually they're the ones that should be dominating the fucking narrative, not middle class people, not a bunch of labor aristocrats, not those fucking people like young Simpa or like Geeks and Gamers and any of these other fucking clowns. We need actual working people, taking this narrative that actually should be the dominant voices. But we don't have that. We never will because the gaming community is extremely reactionary and entitled. They don't care about working people. They don't care that you have people that are fucking literal slaves working who actually have fucking a skill that is not easy to learn and they can't fucking use that skill and not get paid fucking shit wages. Yeah. Yeah, in all honesty, that's just my point. Honestly, I think I finished my point in this stream. Like, at least in this segment, is we need a working class culture in the gaming community. We need to stop, and I mean this, we need to stop fucking, with this bullshit. We need to stop, allowing middle class people dominating the narrative. And I do think it's morally justified to pirate video games, considering what the industry does to its people, how working class people who could barely make ends meet are treated. No. We know. I think we need a working class culture in the gaming community. It's never going to happen, unfortunately. And yeah, and I know people are going to say, "Oh, Darsonovia is anti-working class," even though I am pro-working class, and I actually think the middle class are not working class, at least not in the way that you would think. I'm just going to reiterate this one more time. If you can afford to miss a few days, out of the entire year, if you could hit without, becoming homeless as a result, then I'm sorry, you're not working class. You're middle class. You could afford to miss a few days. If you could afford to miss if you could afford to like miss like even a week or two, you're not working class. Working class is one day and you're homeless. That's working class. And in all honesty, that's just how I feel about it. The middle class, they're not the kind of people that I think should be controlling this narrative, and that's why things have gone to shit. That's why the gaming community is as reactionary as it is. That's why gaming is as bad as it is, because everybody has to cater to the fucking lowest of the low of the fucking society, and that is middle class fucking people. Middle class culture is nothing more than consumerist bullshit.